check. Good. Looking good there. Call in. And I may have to make some video adjustments here. There we are. BD Kane, can you hear us?
Yes.
Oh, you sound sexy.
You don't look sexy, though.
That's because I got this big ass fucking foam thing on here now. You don't have the spit thing going.
You the man. You the man. Give me a mic check 1, 2. Let me see your levels.
Mic check 1, 2. Mic check 1, 2.
Can you turn the levels up at all on your end? I'm giving everything I have over here, and you're coming in a little low.
No, all I can do is just talk into this big old foam condom you put on here. It's probably turning down the sound.
That's better. But no, last time we were doing it, you were able to go into your output settings of some sort and give me a little more output at one point. You find any settings?
No, I have no clue what you're talking about last time finding settings.
Okay.
You told me to put the mic closer to my mouth, and I did that.
That's good. And you're coming in pretty good. You're actually coming in. I tell you to put something else close to your mouth, too. You never listened to me.
Yeah.
But no,
you wish.
If you talk.
But you wish, but I choke on small bones.
True. All right, Popeye. What do you think about all this, dude? Hey.
This is a lot. I've got I've got a TV in front of me. I've got you guys talking at me. I've got two devices. Two devices in my hand that I'm watching both of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is there's not a whiskey in one of them, but there will be.
I know.
What are you doing on your other phone, dude?
Can't even hold my whiskey. Watching some porn. Let's get it on.
Get it on. Hey, Bikeaholics and listeners alike, the show is still going strong because of a lot of hard work and your support, of course. Thanks to all those loyal listeners and true friends of the show that have supported us or are supporting us. For less than a coffee a month, you can help support us too and put a little fuel in the law-abiding biker gas tank to make sure this show keeps moving on down the road. So, calling all law-abiding bikers, head over to our Patreon page and take action today. You can do so at lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. Oh, did I mention there's benefits too? From all your friends at lawabidingbiker.com, we appreciate each and every one of you. God bless and ride safe. Oh, yeah. Here we go, guys.
We're doing it now.
Oh, you know it. You know it. Blabland. We're waving to Blabland. Big Daddy, give a wave to Blabland. There we go. That's right, guys. Welcome back. And we've got a pretty kicking episode for you. All you bikeaholics out there, we really appreciate you tuning in as usual and to the live experience here on this particular episode. We're doing all that over at lawabidingbiker.com/live, of course. Get over there. Get signed up. Upper right-hand corner, there's a email sign-up list. It's the only emails you'll get on that list, and we'll just simply send you an email when we're going to go live. There'll be a button there, and it's that easy. You simply frickin' hit the button, come, and you can chat with us and all that kind of stuff. That's right, guys. I do have just one question. What are you waiting for, Bikeaholics? Mount up. Let us take you on another wild-ass ride. That's right, Ryan Urlacher here, your host of the Law Abiding Biker Podcast. And, of course, your high-tech redneck. Super stoked to have somebody back in the studio that hasn't been here in a while. That's right. There we go. Let me have a wet my whistle while that's playing. Big Daddy, what are you drinking down there? You got a beverage of your choice down there? Okay, live right there.
No, I don't have a beverage at all.
That's poor. That's poor.
I didn't even have time. By the time I got back from everything and got everything set up on this thing, didn't have a chance.
Well, I appreciate you being here, bud. If you want a break for a second, if you do get thirsty, just let us know. We'll run the show while you're getting a break. We can thank patrons or something. What's going on?
Oh, reading this thing from old Corey Williams down here. Look, it's the trailer queen, he says.
Oh, God.
Long time no podcast.
It's awesome. He's a patron of ours. So, yes, that's very, very cool. Yes. That is funny, man.
Wasn't here to defend myself on that one.
You do remember it, though, apparently.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Good one, Corey. I got to chat back. Popeye, man, it's been a minute, and thanks for being back in the studio. You mentioned you're sitting on the new sofa that's provided by our patrons, of course.
Fantastic.
And it's still an IKEA couch because I'm still very considerate of the funds and where they're spent. But damn it, how does it feel? Is it a good couch?
It's much better than the last time I was here. And it has. It's been a long time, man. I haven't been on a long time. I got suspended or something. I'm not sure what happened there.
You're always welcome. You know that.
I do. I know that.
Now, if you guys don't remember, the reason Popeye doesn't get down here as much as he lives quite a distance away, and I'll just throw it out there. And he's a tech. He's just
giant.
No, he's just a tech. What do you call it? Zero tech guy. And I even offered at some point, I'm like, dude, we need to get you a microphone like I do. Look at BD Kane down here coming in remotely on Blab, and just a tech idiot over there. Yeah. And but we love you because we could get you on more, obviously. But it's always nice to have you in the studio too, Big Daddy.
All about old school here.
It is old school, and you're using my iPhone.
Hey.
You can't.
That's enough.
Just let it go.
Just let it go.
Go ahead, Big Daddy. You got something to say? Well, before we get the show started?
No, it's good to see Popeye, even if it's remotely, and I'm glad he made it down for a podcast.
I just accidentally hit a key on the keyboard. I apologize. Yeah, and you actually went up to see Popeye not too long ago. Nice. We were just talking about that at dinner, that would have been like a 500-mile day for you, Big Daddy, running up, seeing him, riding around with those guys and coming back.
Yeah, it was a great ride. They took me on a pass ride, and I don't remember the name of the pass, but I'd never been on it before. And so it was really cool with the new bike to get a chance to go through that, and even had a nice little long straightaway where I could let it open, and I just let it rip and put some speed on it to see how it would handle.
That was a fantastic ride. That little pass, I don't remember the name of that pass either, but that is a beautiful pass up in there.
I think you took me on it before, didn't you?
Yeah.
When we first got the club going?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, up through Omak. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, the thriving metropolis of Omak. BD Kane loved that big city. It's almost like being in New York, right?
Yeah, the best thing about that town was that half of the stores were shut down.
At least.
So we only had a few choices. We didn't have a hard, difficult choices to make of where to eat or get gas because there was only like 3 of them there.
Yeah.
Nice. I remember that pass, and then that was one of our long days up there because we came up in the morning, and then I think LD had a baseball game he had to go to, and we sat out in the park, and then we went to Sarge's house and drank whiskey after or something. I don't know if that was the same day, but it seems like I got home at an ungodly hour in the morning riding the pass with deer and jumping out and crap, dude, across Blewett. We came back. Justin was up there with us. This was years ago. Yeah. Sat in Sarge's upstairs room and drank whiskey up there and visited.
We don't do that type of thing.
Nah, I don't promote that kind of behavior. It's ridiculous.
We don't approve of that.
Whiskey drinking. Mm-mm. All right, guys. Well, let's, I just want to mention this real quick. We'll get down. We're going to talk today. The main topic is all about, Big Daddy on here. And he's talked in the past about Project Chola. And that was a fun episode, got a lot of good feedback, and he's a master when it comes to a lot of this stuff, and he's very knowledgeable on the Bonneville, the Triumph Bonneville T100, because he actually owns one, and we did a couple videos on that we'll discuss as we go along here. But one new free video I want to mention real quick is out on our YouTube channel. Of course, we've got a ton of new videos, but I try to announce one here and there when we can, but it's been out. It's a video. It's how to install an extended tall rider Kuryakyn brake pedal on a Harley Davidson. You can get it right over at lawabidingbiker.com/Kuryakyn extended brake pedal. And of course, you can always just search the website in the search bar for that Kuryakyn extended brake pedal. That's one we put on Lurch's bike because he's so freaking tall, and he's really enjoying that. We want to give a shout out to Kuryakyn for their continued support of Law Abiding Biker podcast and media. And this show is made possible, and then we will get into our main topic, by patrons. Of course, you want to thank these patrons right here, all of them there if you want.
Absolutely. We want to thank, of course, Manuel Salazar. Didn't leave his location, so we don't know where he's donating from, but we do appreciate your donation. Along with Robert Hooser, I'm assuming that's how it is pronounced.
I think so.
We do not have a location for him either. And also, I should say, Mike
Pitaro.
I'm getting the blindness. I'm getting older. It makes it a little bit tougher to see here.
All right, you're just like Chewy.
I know. And he is from Portland, New York. Shout out to New York. Also, a couple patrons coming at you. We got 3 more from Bill Fletcher out of Sacramento, California. Christopher
Menier.
There you go. That is probably correct. And that is out of Reedsburg, Wisconsin. And Ann Own. Ooh, that's a toughie there.
Zredek, I think. Yeah, that's how I'm going to say it.
Yeah, out of Delavan, Wisconsin. And just to say, he is also a top-tier donator.
That's right, guys. We thank you, and they are the reason the show is coming to you around the world because they support us. They took action. They went to lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. They didn't just stall out and just consume the episode. They know the work that goes into them, and they want to support us and pledge a certain amount per piece of content. We encourage you to get over there. That is the only reason the show is still going, because let me tell you, the amount of work in it, without getting that type of support, there's no way we could have just continued it. It's just, it's become quite a beast, and it is because of those very people that support us that do that. So now, Big Daddy, why don't you just jump right in here, dude, and tell us about this Bonneville, because it was a surprise to me. We talk a lot about Harleys on here, and of course, we support all motorcycles. We love all motorcycles. We mostly get our hands on Harleys right now, but this is a really cool little bike, and it's the Triumph Bonneville T100. Tell us how you came about that, and let's just start shooting the breeze about this.
Well, as I've alluded to in past conversations, one of the things that I'm starting to find myself is liking bikes of different types. And so I started doing some research on the Triumph Bonneville, and with that, kind of really got into it. I mean, it's totally different than what we expect out of our Harley Davidsons or anything. Totally different style, but yet it still kind of has that ambiance about it because it's a British bike. They basically make it look like the old Triumphs and stuff. So ended up coming across a really good deal on it and decided to pick it up. And my original goal was to turn it into a Scrambler.
Right. And now I remember, and you didn't turn into a Scrambler. What happened there? You did some stuff to it.
Yeah. When I started looking at, by the time that I spend the money to scramble it out, my thought was with getting the bike on sale for the price that I did, which was about $2,000 less than their MSRP because they were blowing out their 15-year models, because the 16 models were coming out with a lot bigger 300 cc's more engine. So my thought was, well, I can take this and scramble it out. But I'll be honest with you, once I got it and I started riding it, and you've ridden it and you've done a whole video on it, and you can give your impression as well. But I started to enjoy it as a street bike, and I just didn't have the heart to go ahead and scramble it out.
Rick, for some of those guys out here that are listening, you're talking about scrambling it out. What exactly does that mean?
So in the early days with Steve McQueen and the guys that were doing off-road racing, they didn't have dirt bikes like what we traditionally have now. So they had to do stuff where they would take a road bike. Typically, it would be either a Harley Davidson Sportster or a Triumph Bonneville, and BSAs and some other models. What they would do is convert that to an off-road bike. So they're taking a street bike, usually removing the fenders, putting knobby tires on it, upgrading the suspension. One of the most famous people for this was Steve McQueen, who not only was an avid racer and motorcycle rider, but did all of his own motorcycle stunts, or is known to have done all of his own motorcycle stunts, including the one where the most famous one is where he's riding the BMW, and he's breaking out of the prison camp, and he actually jumped it. I think it was like 10 feet into the air and did that. So he was very avid, very, very talented with that. And so that kind of inspired what eventually became what we would think like back in the 70s when we were kids, late 70s, having a dirt bike, and you would see these bikes that almost looked like a cross between dirt bike and a street bike. Well, that's because that was kind of where they were at. Whereas now the dirt bikes, are obviously far more advanced. Well, what has happened is there's become a resurgence of that. And so Triumph came back out with a Scrambler. They actually have a model called the Scrambler. And it's same motors, what's in mine. It's a 900 cc. They put a little bit higher exhaust. They put a little bit different tires on it. They put moto bars, which would be your traditional bars with like the cross member bar there on the top. And so instead of like in the 70s and 60s when they made their own dirt bikes, now you can just buy them like that. But a lot of people are they'll buy a Thruxton or a Bonneville or a T100, and when they modify it, even if they don't use it as a full scrambler, you find that a lot of people do a lot of work to them. They'll do fender elimination kits. They'll remove the front fenders. They'll add those tires to it. Kind of makes it kind of cool. But it looks like an old dirt bike that you would see in the 60s and in the early 70s. And because that's all they had. They had to make their own dirt bikes.
You know what's crazy about those bikes back in the old days too is, you got, like you were talking about McQueen. And what type of travel did he have on the bikes that he was riding doing those stunts?
Yeah, right.
You're
right.
what, 3, 4, 5 inches, right?
Right, dude.
I mean, it was hardly anything. And now you got these dirt bikes. I mean, they got, 11, 12, 13 inches of travel. If I'm bringing that up right.
You are.
I'm not 100% sure on how much travel they have that nowadays, just because I don't ride a ton of dirt bikes, but they do. And it is funny to think about these guys that used to go out and they do those stunts on bikes that, man, you're talking about basically riding a hardtail.
You're right. They weren't meant for that.
No.
But they're doing it.
Yeah.
That's hardcore. And I think that is much more impressive. I mean, what they do today is impressive too, but just doing it on those is just freaking, you're like, holy cow, man.
Shake your kidneys loose.
No doubt.
Yeah. And one of the things that you guys might remember from the patron page,
the private Facebook group. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know Madman has saw it because I think he was a member at that point. In it was either Men's Journal or Maxim Magazine, I think, or one of those.
Playgirl,
the ones you just look at for the articles, just about the articles in this.
One of those men's type magazines. But there was actually a guy from the U.S. that had a Triumph Scrambler sent down to Cuba, and he toured Cuba over a week. And Ryan, you might remember that story. I posted it on there, and he talks about how he's riding this bike with, even though it's got modern EFI, it's still kind of older technology because these scramblers, they don't have a lot of travel on them. And one of the first things a lot of people do is they upgrade the suspensions on them. But really kind of interesting that this guy went all around Cuba with this bike, and everywhere he broke down, if he did break down, the people of Cuba, he was amazed that they just knew how to fix things because they've had to for the last 50 years,
right?
And they're building parts and he's getting all this help, and it was a kind of a journey. Well, he's not alone in that. There's actually a whole kind of resurgence along with the Triumphs and even the Harley Davidson now. There's obviously Harley doesn't make a scrambler, but Smoky Mountain Harley Davidson in Tennessee, they actually make them. They take Sportster models and they scramble them out and then sell them right there at the dealership. So there is this resurgence of that. In fact, we've all heard of the Tail of the Dragon, but there's actually a dirt version of the Tail of the Dragon where these people are just really into this whole scramble where they can take what would be a traditional street bike into the off-road. And they kind of make an adventure out of it. And so that's kind of where I was going to do that with it. But in the end, I just figured it was going to be too expensive to finish the project.
Yeah. And, I was stoked about it too. If I had time, I can see in the future we might, but right now we're so buried with lab stuff that I was like, I really wanted to get one with you or even, scramble a Sportster out or something, whatever it might be. And they look fun. They look cool. You're right. It is a resurgence. Of course, a dirt bike's going to do better, but that's the community that's doing that with the scramblers is really into that. It's not necessarily, to catch the most air and stuff like that, but just to take those bikes and convert them and go running off road would be really, really fun.
One of those things like we were talking about, me and Ryan over dinner too. That's one of those bikes where you feel the road.
Oh yeah.
For our longtime listeners too, they know I've got a couple bikes and I've got a Heritage Springer, and it's one of those bikes you go down the road and you can feel it. You feel the bumps, with that front end, especially that Springer front end, kind of like these old bikes too, like we're talking about is, it's definitely a different ride.
You feel the throttle more, the motor vibration more.
Absolutely. And just the suspension is different underneath you. The street glide, road glide, these touring bikes, they are made to eat the miles up. And I mean, they're a lot of fun, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely different than riding kind of an old time bike or just something that's built differently. Even nowadays with a Springer front end, you're going to feel the road a lot differently.
Yep. Well said. Well said. We were talking about my night train sitting down there that we just need to do a couple projects on still, and I'm going to sell it, but I love it. It's fun, but yeah, it definitely feels different a lot different than my 2014 Street Glide. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing that's cool about brands like Triumph that have had a resurgence, and Harley Davidson, and even Indians and Victories and stuff, is that they have brand loyalty, and they have this, even though we all know that the current Indian is not the original Indian, but they have that kind of heritage to it. And so like with Harley Davidson's, where you have diehard hog members and then people that are diehard of their own motorcycle groups, the Triumph kind of had that. And that's what kind of allured me to that, because I know it's not the original Triumph company. It's owned by Hinckley now, but they make it look old. You feel that road. The first time Ryan took it for a ride, I said, you're going to feel this. You're going to feel the bumps. You're going to feel the whoops. You're going to, you trust me, you're in lower back. You're going to feel it. And I'll let him describe his experience with it. But, even like the Triumphs, they have their own little society. They have the distinguished, I think it's called like the Distinguished Gentleman's deal, where if you can go on and see them, and they'll have guys that are in suits, and they pull up to a gathering and they're wearing a suit.
That's cool.
And they're riding this Triumph, but that's kind of what they were built on. And if you think about it, Marlon Brando, everybody thinks Marlon Brando was on a Harley Davidson in the Wild One. He wasn't. He was on a Triumph. I mean, really, Triumph and BSA and Harley Davidson Sportsters and the original, Indian Scouts and stuff, that's what really built this motorcycle industry in America, at least in my opinion. I mean, everybody's going to have their own opinion. And it's sad when they go away, like when Harley Davidson almost went away in the AMF years, but they came back, and now Triumph's back and Indian's back. And I love it. I envision that if I win the lottery, I'm going to have a garage full of all kinds of different. So there's going to be Triumphs in there. There's going to be Indians, Victories, all kinds of Harley Davidsons. I just love the variety, but that's just me. I'm just into bikes.
Absolutely, buddy. I will too when I win the lottery, if ever. But
it's a good retirement plan. When I win the lottery, not if, when.
He's going to share it with me when he does.
Yeah.
Dang right, dude. We're going to split it. Start a big garage or something. Yeah. No, that's sweet. And but you did a cut. Now let's talk about this Triumph a little bit. I did ride it. I'll get to that a little bit later. And some of my, because you're Big Daddy's a big daddy. We don't call him Big Daddy for no reason. He's tall, and that's a little bike, huh?
Yeah, the first time I sat on it, I was very worried. And I actually had the salesman take a picture of me sitting on it, and I sent it to a couple people. And I'm like, hey, do I look like a monkey fucking a football on this thing or what? And everybody was like, no, actually, it fits you pretty good. Now, granted, I'm 140 pounds lighter, so that probably helps. But
yes,
yeah, being 6'3" does have its disadvantages as far as on some. It limits the bikes that you can feel comfortable on, but with this bike, I mean, I've ridden it to Yakima back and never really felt super uncomfortable. The key thing for me with this bike was having options available. So like I would use the passenger pegs, where I would actually, when I was using those pegs, I was in a more forward-leaning position, kind of like what the stock Thruxton seating position is. But it is a small bike. It's really weird when I go from my bagger to that, and I'm looking down at the front fork, and the front, it's almost like getting on a Sportster when you haven't ridden a Sportster in a while, and you get on it. It seems very small, very tiny. With those narrow glide front ends and stuff. But I think Popeye said it best. You actually feel like you're part of the road when you're doing 80 miles per hour on that bike.
Oh, I felt it. Yeah. You
are literally looking over the headlight and you see the road. There is no, big fairing there for you, but that's kind of some of the fun of it. But it's not necessarily a long travel bike for me. That's for sure.
Yeah, you bet. It's funny. Like you said, you get on a small bike after riding these baggers all day, and it does. It feels small, and it definitely feels more like you are part of the road.
Yes.
Like just even going back and forth between my bikes, and a lot of people consider my Springer a big bike.
Right, yeah.
But you get off of a bagger and get on my Springer, and it does. It's just a very different ride. So, yeah, I can imagine these bikes would be a hoot to ride.
It was too bad you didn't get to ride that
I know it.
little bike maybe sometime. But now, what was funny is in the private Facebook patron only group, Big Daddy the other day posted he bought a Big Gulp, dude, and you took a video of you riding that thing and the Big Gulp sitting up between your speedo. Is that like a natural platform for your Big Gulp or something, dude?
Well, I was thirsty, so I was like, the heck with this. I'm going to stop and get a Big Gulp. And I thought, well, maybe I'll try to
hookers buy Big Gulps. Who buys Big Gulps?
Well, it wasn't even a Big Gulp. It was just the gulp. It was just a little tiny one.
That's a telltale sign of a hooker walking on the street with a Big Gulp for us anyways, dude.
Yeah. But I was like, well, I got to get back to the kids' car wash. The cheerleaders were having a car wash, and so I wanted to go back and spend time with the wife and kid. So I was like, what am I going to do with this? So my first thought was fill it to the top and take a big drink, and it'll be 3/4 full. And then I'll just put it in my pocket, and maybe it won't seep out of the top of the hole where the straw goes. And I'm like, nah, that's not going to work. And literally out loud, this old lady gave me a dirty look, but out loud I said to myself, fuck it. And then she gives me a dirty look. I go, how dare you? How dare you? You are not a gentleman, sir. How dare you say that in my presence? But I didn't even think about it. I wasn't trying to be rude. I'm like, fuck this. And I just put it on the deal and start riding down the road. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. This is working. This is working. So then I get about half a mile down the road. I'm like, I got to record this. This is completely unsafe. I'm working the throttle with my right hand. I got the phone in my left hand recording this thing and a Big Gulp on the front. And I'm like, I got to record this. So luckily it was a little stretch where I could, but it worked. Didn't spill a drop. And got there, and the girls were all looking at me like, what in the hell? They saw me pull up and they're like, what's that on your handlebars? I'm like, that's my Gulp.
It's freaking sweet, Bob. Dude. Only better thing is it would have been a freaking Slurpee, dude. Like a berry Slurpee or something.
I had a coffee in my lap the other day. I rode down. It probably took about 500 miles to get where I was going, down at the very southwest corner of Washington, and had some training down there for about a week, but went down to Starbucks. Throw my coffee in between my legs.
I tried that. You made it?
Oh, yeah. I didn't have that far to go. I only had got a couple miles back to the hotel where we were at, but
yeah.
Would you spill yours?
Yeah, I did. The one time I tried it, and I have since bought a cup holder.
Yeah.
So I have it, especially when we're going on like Colorado coming up on 5-day trip. I got to have my coffee, dude. And I need it up there. I need my coffee up there.
Yeah, and you can fit all kinds of beverages in there.
You can. You really can if you want, water, Slurpees.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Big gulps.
Big gulps.
Yeah, this bike, the way the seating position is, and Ryan will understand it.
That would have crushed your nuts.
It's an old time seat that's very flat, and there's no way you could set anything between your legs on that. This literally was my only option, and I don't think I could have gotten away with it with the stock handlebars. I think the fact that I had the built well moto bars on it is what made it work. That little extra cross member, and it just, no problems. I mean, it just worked perfect.
Yeah, it's fun, and this is some of the stuff that goes on in that private patron only Facebook group. We do there's a lot of great information, but then there's a lot of fun stuff that we don't put out really anywhere else. In that patron only. So if you guys get a chance, all you listeners that are listening later in podcast form, I see some of our live audience in here right now are already patrons and stuff, but definitely fun type stuff like that goes on in there. So let's talk a little bit about this thing. So this was a 2015, and you got it for $2,000 below MSRP basically.
Yeah, I think the retail on them were
$97.99 is what I'm showing.
Yeah, and I got it for $74.95. And I put a little bit of money into. I put a new set of bars and grips, and that was about $115. And then I put a.
And what was the deal with the bars though? You did that because they were wider or something?
Yeah, the stock bars weren't very comfortable for somebody of my height. I felt like they were in my lap. And so I knew the moto bars were about 30 inches wide. The stock ones were about 28. So it gave me a couple more inches, but it also leaned me forward. So it put me what I would consider into a more comfortable position. And it also allowed, with that forward riding position, it actually allowed me to use more of the seat as well, where I could scoot back on the seat and lean forward even more, or I could scoot up more towards the tank.
Right. And you did the seat that you put on there, the Bitwell seat, is that a reason or just for looks? I can't remember. Or is that strictly looks?
Yeah, I played with both of them. Originally, I got that seat because it actually was an inch lower than the stock seat. And so my thought process was have a little bit better of a look, but it also was thinner, so it allowed you to see more of the frame, which was kind of the look that I was going for. But I've recently went back to the stock seat just because it's not as comfortable as the Biltwell seat, but it's higher, and so I found that just having that little bit of extra height was more comfortable for me.
Roger, and you piped it too, if I remember. You put Triumph pipes 2-in-1 on it or something?
Yeah, Triumph has a company that makes them for them. They're called Aero Performance Exhaust. They're pretty spendy. I'm always trying to find a deal, and so I just called down to Portland dealer where I knew I could get tax-free, and ended up they'd had this set for a while. They were normally $1,300 for the set, but he ended up selling them to me for $800 or $900 and then shipped them to me. So it opened up a little bit. It has like its own download, and then it has the pipes and then a Kane filter. To be honest with you, I didn't see a big, huge performance difference. Maybe a little bit, but not as much as what I anticipated. Like with the Harley, I mean, when you put pipes and a high flow air filter on Harley, you feel it.
Right, but stage one, yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
I just didn't really feel it with this. So if somebody else was going to buy one of these, I would say, unless you just don't like the look of the stock exhaust, keep it, because you're not going to see a big, huge performance increase. And
what about the sound difference? How'd you notice on a sound difference? Sound a lot better afterwards, or?
It's more open. I mean, it's still quiet compared to, like, it's not a Harley type exhaust at all.
Mm-hmm.
But it is. It does have a little bit more grunt to it.
Mm-hmm. No real big deep growl like the Harley makes a difference. So,
no, not with this exhaust system. This exhaust system is specifically made that they were putting this on the Thruxtons and stuff. More of a performance versus sound. But there are some companies out there like Vance and Hines just got into the. Used to be you couldn't find a lot of just British Customs was really the only people that were making aftermarket stuff, and then D&D exhaust, which we know them because that's what Oscar has on his bike.
Mm-hmm.
But Vance and Hines recently got into bed with Triumph and is now making exhaust, and they're actually selling them at the dealerships. And I've heard those, and they sound pretty good. Nice. Those parallel twins have a nice little sound to them when you open them up.
It was pretty funny. I said a buddy buy a 15, so it was a year old Harley stock exhaust. It was basically a stock bike, but he had to go and get his exhaust done because he got tired of sitting next to me and couldn't tell if his bike was running or not. So
yeah,
heck with that. And he
it's like
noticed,
a sewing machine.
Oh, that's what he used to say too. That's like a sewing machine. And then of course, like he said, the power difference afterwards. Because I'd been telling him, I said, the power difference that you're going to notice from doing a stage one and your exhaust, and it's just going to be night and day. And of course, after he did it, he couldn't believe the power difference. Just like you're talking about there, Big Daddy, of on a Harley. Yeah, what a difference.
And if you guys wonder what I'm doing, this is how we roll here. The live audience can probably see me. I am setting up a tripod for my 11-year-old. Because she is obviously very into making videos because of all my equipment now. And she's been for several years. She's got a YouTube channel she's rocking on, and she needed Dad's help getting the tripod mount for the iPhone set up. That's how I roll right while I'm podcasting, bro. What do you think about that for multitasking?
We're doing it live.
Hey, wave to the camera when you walk by at least. Watch the cable.
Right up there.
Don't be tripping over my cable. All right. Is that all you need? All right. Go wave to the camera on your way out. You have a YouTube channel. What are you worried about, for God's sakes? All right. So that's how we roll right here. Law Abiding Bike Media, taking care of family business while I'm podcasting. See, nice. I don't even care anymore, dude. I'm just like, come here. What do you need? I'll put a tripod together for you, dude. You guys were holding the conversation. No, I heard some of it there with the downloads and all that. So yeah. So now this is interesting. This is it is an 865cc. It's an air cooled, which is cool. On this bike, they call it a parallel twin. And I will tell you that it looks like, which was really cool, they make it still look nostalgic, like it's carbureted, but it's actually, it looks, if at first glance you would think it was carbureted, but it's actually fuel injected. And in fact, Big Daddy was the one that told me about that. Now, we broke this thing down for you guys, and of course, we'll talk a little bit more about this bike, but we did a couple free videos for you guys while we did an oil change on this thing. And this is a completely free video. We put a ton of time and effort into it. And if you simply go, I'll give you the URLs. These will be in the show notes too for you guys. But it is a free video on YouTube, our very, very popular YouTube channel with like 4 million views now. lawabidingbiker.com/Triumph T100 review. You can get that. Of course, you can always go to our YouTube channel, lawabidingbiker.com/YouTube and search, or the website and search if you can't remember any of this. And actually, the lawabidingbiker.com/Triumph T100 review is my review video of it, where I did a test ride. That was after our oil change, and I go around the bike. We show you some shots of it, show you what Big Daddy's done to it, some of the stuff we're talking about today, and then the oil change video is also free. Complete maintenance on this thing, just like our Harley ones, but this is for free. lawabidingbiker.com/Triumph Oil Change. And we've come to the conclusion that this free video will work for 2009 to 2015 Triumph motorcycles, to include the Bonneville, Thruxton, and Scrambler, because they're all using the same motors. They're just wrapping them a little bit different, as you heard. And of course, the Scrambler, they're just different parts is really all they're doing. Same type of frames, basically, and same type of motors. Am I saying that correctly, Big Daddy?
Yeah, it's the same frame. They just lay it out a little different. The Thruxton is more of your cafe racer style. The Bonneville and the T100s are more of an upright seating position. And then the Scrambler is your dirt bike, for lack of a better. I mean, it's still a road bike, but it has knobby tires. The exhaust is higher. Instead of it being down at the bottom, it's actually right across the middle of the motor and stuff. I think they have a little bit extra travel in the suspension and such. I think it's like an inch more travel in the rear.
Roger that.
But I will tell you, that motor is definitely torquey, ain't it?
It is.
And you're in first gear and second gear, and you barely hit that throttle. It wants to pop that front tire up.
I like that. Yeah, let's talk about that here. Talk about some of the performance stuff. Real quick, of course, we love our patrons, but we never, ever balk at a flat donation if that's how you want to support us. lawabidingbiker.com/donate to help put a little fuel in the Law Abiding Biker gas tank so we can keep this thing heading on down the road. That's right, you running right now, take action. That's right, you driving, pull over, be safe, no texting and driving. That's right, you walking the dog, just do it, stop. Why don't you thank these people, Popeye?
We want to thank.
You whacking off right now? That's Popeye. He'll stop right now.
They can see me live on video and know that I am not whacking off. But we do want to thank Jermaine Bauer of Houston, Texas. Thank you, sir. And boy, the great state of Texas, huh? Yeah. Ronald Staples of Mankato, Minnesota. And Ryan, he wants to give you a little bit of man love. He says, I have the exact bike and color as you. So he was loving that.
14 Harley Davidson.
Yeah, 14 Harley Davidson, and he received very much useful info. Good job, Ryan. Excuse me, Ron. Yeah, Ryan, both of you. Like I said, a little man love for the both of you. Stuart Bussman of Mesquite, Nevada. Well, thank you as well. A couple more coming at you. David Duffy of Jackson, Tennessee. And David, we got a special one sitting over here for you right now.
Cheers, buddy. He says, what did he write? Oh, he says, hey, buy some beer on me, guys. That's what his donation's for.
That. Thank you, sir.
That's the community, man. Buying a beer for us.
Always appreciate that. Next, we got coming up here Steven Stratton of Stockton, California. He is also a top-tier patron.
And donating on top of it. Unbelievable.
Made a sizable donation. And he says, keep the show going down the road. Mark Hill of Columbia Station, Ohio.
Thank you, all you guys. We really, really do appreciate it. It's keeping the gas tank at least mostly full so we can keep on going. All right, let's talk about Big Daddy. Your pros. Just give me some. I'll talk about my test right after you, but why don't you give me some of the things maybe you liked and didn't like about it, or maybe you just liked everything. I don't know.
No, I'll give you my honest opinion on it. I love the looks of it. I love that it looks old school, but it's modern.
Me too.
I do think that Triumph could have done better job on the suspension. I think the suspension, especially the rear suspension, was a little lacking. I've been told that
like bottoming out or too stiff.
It's just stiff.
Yeah, I agree.
I've got it on like the second of like 5 settings, and it's still, even tonight, I took it for a spin, and I actually rode it this weekend a couple times, and I just feel like my kidneys, if you hit the wrong bump, are just hurt. So, but that's a common thing if you look in the blogs and the forums and just some of the online reviews, they'll say, yeah, it really needs to do it. Well, apparently in 16, they got a new company and they've really upgraded that. And then they've added anti-lock brakes now. But then again, instead of paying $9,700 for a bike, you're paying $12,000. So all that stuff costs money when you start wanting more modern technology. But suspension's a little lacking. But it's nimble. I mean, you can take that thing in small circles. I did feel as though the front steering is a little heavy.
Yeah, you were saying that. Yeah.
I just feel like it's more, it just seems like it shouldn't have been so heavy, taking those slow turns and stuff. I expected it to be more like a Sportster where, the Sportster seems to turn almost naturally. And this bike here, as long as you're doing a sweeping curve, you're fine. But if you have to turn the wheel at all, it just seems like it has a different kind of feel to it that's a little heavy. And I've heard that term used a couple of times in some other reviews and magazines. So I'm not coming up with that. And that's not an original term that I'm using on that, but that's the best way to describe it. But the motor is an amazing motor. I very impressed. I think I've told you, I never thought that a 900cc motor would be that powerful. Having ridden Sportsters, both 1200s, 883s, having ridden 80 cubic inch Harley Davidsons on up, this motor is it's torquey, but it has such a high, the rev limit on it is 8,000 RPM. Wow. So it will just go. And I think it was 8,000. I'd have to go out and look at it.
Yeah, you're right. It's 59.1 horsepower at 8,000 RPM.
Now, Rick, with that 5-speed, how's that do for an overall top end?
Well, it's being that it has such a high rev limit, it kind of reminds me of when I had my V-Rod. My V-Rod was only a 5-speed, but it was like 7,000 or 8,000 RPM. So when you're doing 5th gear and you're doing 100 miles per hour on a closed course, of course, because I would never do that lawfully.
Well, no, that would be ridiculous.
We don't condone that type of activity.
But the difference is, is that it just, even this thing, when you're doing 100, it's revved up there. It's doing 6,000 RPMs and you feel it and you feel the vibrations. And just like the V-Rod, and you think, man, I'm going to blow this motor up. But then you look and you still have 2,500 RPM left before you even redline. Totally different style of motor, totally different feel than what we're used to with the Harley Davidson twin cams and evolutions and stuff.
Yeah, what else, dude?
Well, I mean, like I said, I mentioned the suspension and the little bit of heavy steering. The other thing is I learned that if I really wanted to do a Scrambler, I should have just bought a Scrambler. I should have spent the $2,000 and bought the Scrambler.
Good info. Yeah, I'm curious about that. Yeah.
I could have done it and taken off the fenders, but what I found is I didn't really want the naked look. I didn't want to do the rear fender removal. I still wanted the fender. So if by the time I started looking to buy the fender that would be on the Scrambler, I was going to be into it another $500. By the time I bought some high quality rear suspension and some progressive front springs, I was going to be into it another $500. The tires, I'd be into it about another $500. And so what I thought was getting a great deal, and it was a great deal for the street bike. But by the time I would have scrambled that out, I probably would have had about the same amount of money I could have gotten a 2016 Scrambler for. The only sad part is this year they did come out, the T100s and Bonnevilles came out with that 1200cc motor, which Cycle World and all the online magazines are just raving about how nice the bike is. But for the Scramblers, they're leaving the old motor in it, which I thought was kind of interesting. I'm guessing because if they think people off road, they don't want the extra 200 pounds of motor. Who knows? But we'll see. Maybe I'll revisit it again some other day. I know right now, just through following Biltwell and some of those stunt riders that we met, the unknown industry guys that we went and saw, a lot of them are doing these Scramblers, and then they're doing the Sportsters and the Triumphs. And I wonder if maybe the Sportster might not be the way to do. Some of them are taking those new 63s or whatever they are, the little Sportsters that come with the bigger front tire.
Oh, so yeah.
A wider fork. They're converting those into some of them. So it'd be interesting. One of the patrons sent me a picture from Tennessee from Smoky Mountain, Harley Davidson. And they're asking about $13,000 or $14,000 for a scrambled out, but they're putting high quality suspension in the front and the rear. They're doing a lot of work to them. They're doing some head work and everything. So,
yeah, that's interesting information about that. That in the Scrambler they're going to keep the smaller motor. I think it makes sense what you said, just because of the extra weight if you're going to actually use it for off-road. Do you know if there's I'm not in those forums. I would like to be. I would love to go trail riding on one of these Scramblers. Do you know if a lot of guys are they just projects, or are they actually going off-road and doing some serious riding with these things off-road?
I know like Rusty Butler, who's a stunt rider, and a lot of this Biltwell crew out of California, they are constantly posting on Twitter, going out for rides and stuff like that. And then they'll post themselves on the dirt version of the Tail of the Dragon. And so they're using them. But, you go and buy yourself a stock Scrambler, like the guy that had one sent from Triumph, did Cuba, you're going to have some limitations. I mean, that suspension is if you really want to get serious and you're going to be doing some leaps and some jumps and stuff like that, you're obviously going to have to spend a little bit of money, mostly in suspension and stuff. But they're doing it, and it's pretty cool. Follow them on Twitter, because it's kind of cool with some of the stuff that they're showing and they're doing with these. I mean, you'll see guys with a Sportster Scrambler, or even a tracker bike, which is kind of like a Scrambler, but it's more of a flat track type look. And these guys are doing some amazing stuffs that you would normally see, like people on these 12-inch travel dirt bike race bikes doing, and they're doing some of the same stunts and fun with them.
Big Daddy, are you going to let me take your bike out and jump it?
Take it over some sweet jumps.
Once I wreck it, but right before we file the insurance claim, I'll let you go jump it.
Then I can jump the hell out of it, but not before. Okay.
Are you talking about the Harley Sportster 72 that they're doing a lot of that with? There's the 72 and the 48.
Yeah, not the 72. The 72, I think, is that 60s style.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's the other one, the 48, that has the big front wheel.
Yeah, I'm looking at pictures here.
By big, I mean wide.
Right, it's got the big fat front. Yeah, that looks like a Scrambler ready to go if you could just change a few things.
They're doing some of that to them and stuff like that, and it's pretty cool. Just check out. I've never been there, but that Harley Davidson, Smoky Mountain Harley Davidson, if you go to their website, they always seem to have a couple on there for sale, and that's what they're doing with the Harleys. But it's kind of like them and the Triumph are the main ones. And now Ducati has gotten into the mix. Oh. Ducati this year came out with a Scrambler.
Well, I wonder how that rides with that big old front tire on there.
Oh, boy, I don't know. It looks like a fun little bike. We're looking at a 48 Big Daddy is what we're looking at.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 48, and it's only starts at 11,000.
I know.
Be a fun little bike around town, little bar hopper.
Hell yeah. Hell
kinda
yeah.
Cool, that open rear fender and stuff too. It looks kind of a cool bike.
It is. We're going to do a new episode soon, because Harley's come out with so many new bikes like this that we just kind of go over some of them. I just haven't had time. I agree. That's a badass looking bike. Fun little bike.
Yeah. And the other ones that they've messed around with is, like I said, Ducati now has a new Scrambler that's come out, and that one's really interesting. That one I don't think that I could fit on. It seems pretty small and looks like a pocket bike, but
be careful what you're trying to fit on, huh, Big Daddy?
Yeah, it's just very interesting. But apparently, more and more companies are starting. It's a segment, and they're definitely, for a major manufacturer to come out with a bike to fulfill a certain segment or market niche. It takes a lot of production money into production investment in that. So it's definitely happening. But I always thought it'd be cool, to take it and you could ride it up on the forest roads. I mean, you're not going to take it to the MX track. That's not what these are for. These are kind of a cross between, your non-traditional adventure bike, but it still gives you a feel of an old-fashioned bike. It's filling that niche. And so
I don't really see taking this thing off-road too much.
I don't know.
It's still much more of like a street bike. It might be fun.
Depends what kind of off-road, I guess.
Yeah, even as much as they cost. Even like you're saying, like a Forest Service road or something like that.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
If I was going to do something, well, no, I'm saying I still wouldn't do that. It's all gravel and stuff. If I was going to do that, I would go spend much less money and get a dual sport or something. KTMs are pretty damn expensive.
Yeah.
I'd get some type of a dual sport, for
Honda or something.
Used one, $3,000-$4,000 and go right out there. Those things, they'll take a beat and you wreck them. And you pick it back up, put on new plastic, good to go.
You're right.
Yeah,
it's
the metal on there.
It's definitely a niche that people are doing it for.
It's the old school. It looks cool, and I understand the nostalgia of it and stuff like that. Like I said, I think it'd be fun to ride around town on whipping in and out of traffic.
Yeah.
Once again, we don't condone that type of activity.
Absolutely. That'd be on a closed track.
Yeah.
No, and you're right. But it's there's a niche for everybody, and that niche is definitely, like Big Daddy says, getting popular. I agree with you. Realistically, if you really wanted to get into off-road riding, you wouldn't be doing it that way. Like you say, you would go, I have buddies that do that. I want to do that, and I can see myself doing that in the future. I just don't have the time right now at all to try to keep lab going in the other full-time job. I can't imagine. I just am glad to get out on my Harley right now, but I agree. You definitely have to be in that niche of love for that and the nostalgia, you know what I mean? Because you're right. There's way better dirt bikes if you're going to actually get into off-road riding.
I just can't imagine how much money is put into these to risk going out and dumping one on gravel.
I know, but
there's people that have the money, I guess.
You're right, because every hobby and niche you look at, there's people like that they just got the money, Yeah. Yeah.
You got to think that. You go buy a stock Scrambler. I'm serious, people. Check out this article. If you put in Triumph Scrambler Cuba, I'm sure you'll find it in Google. But it is
they're doing it out of necessity.
Oh, yeah, everything's old in Cuba.
You're right. That's awesome.
But this guy had a brand new, after they opened up Cuba, he worked a deal with Triumph.
I didn't know Cuba was closed.
Triumph down there. And he traveled Cuba on this thing. And that's kind of what it is. It's like an adventure. It's not a true adventure bike. When we're talking about adventure bikes, we're thinking of like the Kawasaki or the BMW GS series and stuff. But this is for the guy that, maybe wants to do a 100-mile Forest Service run over 2-3 days. And he can put a tent on the back and a sleeping bag. And he's doing something a little bit different. But yeah, he's not going to be doing the kind of hardcore dual purpose type or motocross type roads. But it's definitely a niche thing, and I thought it was pretty cool. And I think it may be more fun if there was a couple of us that had it, where you could take like a weekend where you take Friday and Saturday and you're riding over like some Forest Service roads over the pass and stuff. But again, my advice isn't, if you're going to do that, just go ahead and start with the Scrambler, but just be prepared. You're going to spend some money. You're going to spend some money on some shocks and stuff like that.
Yeah, dude, I can see that in the future. Like I say, that would be absolutely fun if we just had a couple guys with those. So, let me give you I rode this bike, and again, I already gave you guys the URLs for the video I did, the review and the oil change. I got on it. It's an absolutely fun bike. I'm just going to reiterate some of what Big Daddy said. It is super, fun. I'm 5'8" and a lot smaller, so it as far as height goes, and it's a fun little bike, and it felt right for me. But even for me, I'm used to riding big Harleys. I felt big on that bike, but not uncomfortable. Just mentally, I felt like big because I'm not used to riding really small bikes like that. But it was fun. And definitely feel the road, like Popeye said. Did I say something? You're laughing.
I'll keep it clean.
Okay. I know.
For the first time in his life, he felt big.
Yeah, exactly. There's all kinds of stuff about getting on it, feeling big, riding it. I mean, all kinds of stuff. I was just leaving it alone.
Oh my God, dude. See, and it was going right over my head, dude, because I was into what I was saying, dude. I knew I either said something wrong or you were waiting to pounce on me, dude.
Just remember, Ryan, there is one listener that does not like us when we do this kind of nonsense.
That's just, right. You guys keep it straight to the frickin' facts, and we don't want any humor, and we do not want any fun. That's ridiculous.
Yep.
You, sir, are not a gentleman. You talk with your filthy mouth.
Your filthy potty mouth. But it was a fun bike. It is super fast with that 865 cc. I know Big BD said 900. That's what they call it, but it's actually an 865. Big deal. Same thing. The 5-speed, cool. I got it up to speed on a closed track. It was really cool. And I will tell you my cons of the bike. Some of the things I noticed right away. Overall, it's a great bike. Take it for what it is, guys. I'm not talking bad about it. It like BD said, he got into it for 7,000 something. I mean, you can't expect it to have all the bells and whistles and to feel like, like you would if you jumped on a Harley touring bike. So please don't think that I'm talking bad about it. It is what it is. It's a reasonably priced bike to get into, especially if you do like BD and get the 2015. One of the things I noticed right away was when I started riding it after a while, although like Popeye mentioned, you do feel the road, you feel everything, you feel the throttle. You really feel the throttle. You feel the motor. To the point where my hands were feeling a little bit numb from the vibration and the motor feed through the handlebars. Now, I will tell you that BD put different handlebars on it, so take that into account that maybe the bars, aftermarket bars, I never got to ride it with stock bars, and he had aftermarket grips. So maybe take that into account a little bit, but I did notice that, and I wasn't expecting it. But definitely, you get off the bike and you feel like your hands are still vibrating and you're still riding. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You've all ridden old motorbikes like that, yep. and it's got that feel, which surprised me because it's a newer bike. I thought maybe they would have some of that. It's still, of course, it's a cheaper bike, so you don't have the hydraulic clutches and stuff. But even, which is surprising, we won't get into that right now. But even some of the other manufacturers like Indian and Victory are not doing hydraulic clutches yet. They're still doing cables. So it did have cable. It had cable throttle, of course, not throttle by wire or anything like that. It's pretty stripped down when it comes to that. But again, based on the price point, you should expect that. The other thing I did notice that this, and I don't think it should be a surprise, but I at least wanted to test some threshold braking and some emergency braking. This bike is super susceptible to locking up the back tire. It doesn't have ABS. It's got a single rear disc brake, which that's fine because most bikes do. Did it have dual front, BD? I can't remember, dual front disc or not.
No, it just has a single. The new model, the 16 with the bigger motor, offers the anti-lock and the dual front disc brakes now.
That's right. So, but I will say it's such a light bike, and I'm fairly light and not a big guy. It locked up very, very quick. Even trying to threshold with 70-30, 70 front. Of course, no ABS, so you're going to have to manually do this kind of stuff in a oh shit situation. I did a couple of those oh shit situations, and even, it seemed like I was only applying like 10% rear brake, and it was still locking up really, really quick. So again, it's a light bike. Those type of things are going to happen. It doesn't have ABS, so it just seemed that back brake was more touchy than it needed to be, and locking up sooner than I would have liked it for a bike of that size. It kind of caught me off guard, so I tested it a second time, and it still did those. So those were my two probably biggest cons. The suspension, you're right, it's kind of stiff, and it seemed like going over some of those bumps that it tended to be a little too stiff, and the back tire might lose contact with the surface. So just some things, but those can come with a lot of light bikes. It's just you have to be used to that. I'm used to riding a 900-pound Harley Street Glide, 850 pounds, whatever. They're going to hug the road a little bit better, and you got the weight behind you. But those were probably my two biggest complaints. But other than that, absolutely fun. I had a smile from ear to ear when I got back to Big Daddy's house and eating bugs. I had my full face on, but still my bug helmet was just splattered with bugs because I'm used to not having that with a fairing and windshield and stuff. But fun, maneuverable, it cornered great. It felt very stable at high speed, stable on corners. I didn't get any handlebar, jitter or anything like that. Even at taking corners at some higher speeds, I was testing it out. It didn't feel unstable at all going around the corners. So overall, it's just a great bike for that price point. And I would love to ride it again. 41 millimeter forks on the front, 4.7 inches of travel is what you're looking at on that. KYB, we talked about it, adjustable shocks, spring preloaded. And those rear shocks have 4.2 inch travel. And then it's got a 2-piston caliper, 310 millimeter disc on front and a 255 millimeter disc on the back. And we already told you the new ones have the dual front brake, which I think will help with threshold braking a lot if you can grab that front and have a little more control over that front. So 4.2 gallon gas tank. So again, it's not a touring bike, but plenty big gas tank for that size motor, 518 pounds of wet weight, which that's what it feels like getting on that. It felt like I was riding a BMX bicycle. It was that light because I'm so used to these big bikes. I was like, dude, I can frickin' do anything with this bike like I could with a BMX bike. So
yeah, it's definitely a whole different animal. And you're right on, Ryan. I mean, you didn't notice the same kind of heaviness feel in the steering at slow cornering like I did. But I will tell you, I've talked to some people that have these, and they say just putting a $300 set of progressive 412 suspensions on the rear, they said completely changed the bike.
Yeah, right.
Very, very interesting that you would think that by spending, $250 for a set of Progressive's cheapest shocks, and they said it completely transformed the bike. And supposedly, like I said, for 16, they've upgraded the shocks just due to that. But it was kind of interesting with I think it's 4 or 5 slots, and I'm 230 pounds, and I was on the second slot, and I still felt like it was a little too stiff.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And that's the manually adjusted type suspension. Yeah. Yeah.
And, the no-hole windshield deal, I've been riding Chola and without a windshield. And so I actually was used to that a little bit, and I'm starting to like it again. I used to never ride with the windshield, and then I got spoiled, and now I'm kind of rediscovering that. But the one thing with that bike, Ryan, is even without a windshield, you never feel as though you're getting blown off. I don't know if it's the way I had the bars lean forward, but I never felt necessarily uncomfortable. But I do think that the grips are probably what made you feel that in your hands so much, because when I had the stock bars and the stock grips, I did not notice it as much. It wasn't until I went to the Bitwell bars and these Bitwell grips, which are very soft. And I think maybe they just let the vibration come through a little bit more. I wouldn't scare people off with that. I would say, look at keeping the stock grips on there, and you probably eliminate that. But it's just like a Sportster, dude. I mean, it's the motor is mounted right to the frame, and so right. You are gonna feel it. It's like the first time you ever rode a Sportster or and then you get on a Dyna with the rubber mounted Dynas, you're like, holy smokes! I can actually feel my hands this time. It's just that same kind of feeling. And for me, riding the Ekman back, that was fine. But I definitely wouldn't want to ride down to Vegas Bike Week with it.
Oh,
that would be a little too long of a ride with this thing.
Yeah. All right. With that, I got Buddy's the studio dog in my arms here. You can see that's how we roll here. He just wanted to jump up here and say hi to the live audience for a second. Peace. We've got a seat open. If anybody really quick wants to jump in and just say hi and where you're from and how you found Law Abiding Biker and stuff, you're welcome to take a blab seat. I'll let you in real quick. While we're doing that, let's wind it down a little bit. Big Daddy, do you want to talk about Big Daddy runs the store, the Law Abiding Biker store. He absolutely is 100% in charge of it. I run the media side and the videos and the podcast, and then we've got, of course, Lurch over doing editing and a lot of the social media. Big Daddy's on social media, but while we're waiting to see if anybody wants to jump in and say hi real quick, why don't you tell them about our newest product, just real quick, Bug Slide, and let them know you're shipping that out. You've got it in stock, and just give a little quick overview, and then we'll shut this thing down. Yeah,
I don't want to call out anybody. I think one of our patrons, Edward, that came in, is he the one that just bought the Indian? So if he wants to come in and tell us about the Indian real quick for 5 minutes, that'd be cool.
Yeah. If he wants to jump in.
I think he's the one. But hey, Bug Slide, yeah. basically, we tested this product for a year, and we were trying to work a deal with the owner to where maybe we would private label it. And after some new ownership of the company, they decided they didn't want to do that. And we decided that it was such a good product that we didn't care if we white labeled it or not. And so we're selling it as their product. And I'll be honest with you, man, it's flying off the shelves. I had a back stock of, we literally bought 10 cases and it was all gone within 2 days. And so we had a week backlog, and 99.9% of our followers and our customers were patient with me and gave me that 1 week to get the stuff out, get it in and get it out. And so we appreciate that, but it's just flying off. And I'm hearing good things. People are emailing me saying that they've really liked it, that they really enjoy it. I dig it. I think it's easy to use. I've used Meguiar's and several other brands, and you can spend as much money as you want, but I like the smell of this too. I can't believe how good that stuff smells.
Oh yeah, I used it in the bedroom the other night. Oh yeah,
anything. And so we do have it right now. Our most popular have been the Saver Packs. The Saver Packs are really flying off the shelf, and the 16 ounces. And so yeah, we've had no complaints with it, and we've got it priced at just right. I mean, we could sell it for $3-4 more, but we're not doing that. We're trying to keep it competitive, and we just appreciate you buying it from us instead of other outlets.
So last year I was about 4 hours away from where we're at now, and because that was one of the only places you could actually walk in and buy Bug Slide. There's just nowhere around here that sells it, and it's really a hard product to find. Fabulous product. I wasn't really...
Our club's been using it forever.
Oh, yeah, we have. And yeah, when we first started looking at it, I was like, yeah, how's this going to work? It's a good product. It really is. And so anyway, I found a spot that actually you could walk in and buy it, so I didn't have to order it and then wait for it to get here. And it was funny because I walked in...
Only wait 3 days with us, FYI.
Perfect. And so this guy, yeah, when I went over there, and this is years ago. I mean, this is probably 2 or 3 years ago. And so I walk in there, and he's telling me about that he cannot keep that stuff on the shelf, just like Big Daddy's talking about. And he says the rep came in, and when he was originally trying to purchase it, the owner of this store, of this motorcycle store, had said, he goes, "I don't want your snake oil." And he's like, I don't know what type of snake oil you're trying to sell me.
Right.
I don't want it. And he goes, "Oh, no, just listen, and the owner told him, "Look," he goes, "my bike is out front." He goes, "It is absolutely full of bugs." He goes, "I was riding last night." He goes, "You can clean that off." He goes, "I'll buy some from you." He says, dude went out there and sprayed his bike, and he says he was amazed. And after that, he's been carrying it ever since at that store.
Yep. It is. It's popular. And yeah, with that said, let me tell you just quickly about it. That is right. Bug Slide, guys, tried and tested by the Law Abiding Biker crew. It's our #1 go-to motorcycle cleaner. We've been, a lot of companies sent us different cleaners and stuff over time. We kept falling right back to Bug Slide. Clean, shines, and degreases while removing bugs and other surface contaminants with ease. Use it on your motorcycle. Of course, I use it on car, boats, and more. Never need to wax again. That's what I like about it so much. The release agent in Bug Slide contains a UV filter for added protection and dries crystal clear. No yellowing. That's right, Popeye. None of that freaking yellow buildup, that powdery residue crap. We don't like it. It's free of abrasive. Safe on all non-porous surfaces, guys. Of course, paint, chrome glass, all that good stuff. And a lot of guys ask us, yes, it is good on Harley Davidson denim paint. That's your primer look, your non-shiny. I used it on my 2011 for a long time with black denim paint. We believed in it so much, we carry it in stock right in the Law Abiding Biker store. lawabidingbiker.com/store. Big Daddy Kane has it ready to ship direct to you right this very moment from, as you see him on Blab, right from where he's sitting right now. He could walk out and ship you some right now. Ain't
got
that
a
right?
bottle of it in my saddlebag right now.
You do. That's right.
No bullshit.
I know, I do. And that's the travel pack. I put the link in the description, guys, it's directly to our store for Bug Slide, and we do. The other thing I want to mention is that you can try to go to Amazon. We have an Amazon store too. We're toying with an Amazon store, but we prefer our custom store because we can get stuff to you guys at a better price. A lot of people think Amazon, just because it's on Amazon, it's a good deal. It's not. You can buy Bug Slide over there for maybe $1 cheaper than you can buy it from us, but you will be waiting, and it says free shipping, and you're right, it is free shipping. We toyed with it, but it's snail shipping. You'll be waiting up to 15 days. So you'll save $1 and you'll end up waiting 15 days for it to ship to you. And in the meantime, you don't even know who you're buying it from. You're supporting somebody that's not us. So if you go directly to our store, we do priority USPS. We will, and Big Daddy ships stuff every day, and he'll have it out to you next day. I guarantee it. And you'll have it within 3 days right on your doorstep. So if you just want to save $1 and wait 15 days, then go ahead. But if you want to support us and get it in 3, please, lawabidingbiker.com/store. Big Daddy, what do you got to say?
Well, I just tell people, if you're not so sure and you don't want to buy the 16 ounce for $20 or even the saver pack, we do carry the 4 ounce travel packs, and they're $10 plus the shipping. Give it a try and see if you like it, but I guarantee you guys will like it. And we wouldn't be, I mean, you guys know us by now. We wouldn't be pushing this out and telling you how good it is, or we think it is, if it wasn't good. We won't sell anything we don't believe in. Whether it be our headsets or the biker grippers or anything else. And so if you're not so sure and you've kind of heard this, like a Popeye says, I'm not buying your snake oil, but buy a 4 ounce and give it a shot. And I guarantee you, you'll come back. I've just been really, really impressed with it. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Well said. Corey Williams in the house. What are you doing?
What is up, crew?
Yo.
Thanks for buzzing in. Good thing Popeye, I was yakking and Popeye put the phone up to me. He's like, dude, somebody's calling in. I'm like, oh, dude, I got to get on that. So, hey, thanks for calling in. And we know who you are, but why don't you tell the law-abiding biker community where you hail from and your name and all that, whatever you're willing to disclose, buddy.
Well, I'm Corey Williams. I'm currently, I'm from Commerce, Oklahoma. I've been trying to get back to Kansas City for a while. I've been riding a 2011 Road Glide. You know, one of the outsiders, the shark nose.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I actually found you guys doing just a search for motorcycle podcast. And that's what brought me to the videos and becoming a patron.
Did you, was that a Google search or was that like in iTunes or something?
No, just a Google search.
Very cool. Yeah, we've been ranking pretty high when it comes to biker podcast or biker podcast. We're number 1, but motorcycle podcast, we're at least first page. So yeah, awesome.
Sorry, my daughter just popped in. Apologize about that.
It's all right. You saw my daughter earlier coming in, setting up tripods, and no problem. That's how we roll here, relaxed, man.
I like it. Corey is lowering the age of Harley riders as well, just like me.
That's right.
Yeah.
31.
That's right. I'm 34. My sergeant told me I've had one for at least 5-6 years now, and when I got mine, my sergeant told me, he says, same thing. You are lowering the age of Harley riders here. That's what we like.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Nice.
So in fact, this weekend, I'm going to try to go pick up a new 2016 with the new financing special to run until the end of June. Going to try to get that 2.99.
Nice. Is that what it's running right now? 299, huh?
What'd you say you're looking to pick up?
He's freezing a little bit. What do you, hey, Corey, what Popeye asked, what you're looking at picking up a 2016 Road Glide?
Road Glide special.
Sweet, dude. That's the same.
An upgrade from 2011.
Yeah, dude, that's quite an upgrade for a 2011, because when I got my 2014, I upgraded from a 2011. So I love and Lurch's too. That new shark nose is just, I think it looks really, really cool.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
Yeah, plus you'll get the new boombox system on that thing. It's pretty tricked out.
That the painted inner fairings, that's a real. I love that feature. Of course, they didn't have that in 09, and I just or 11, and I didn't want to pay the extra to do it.
Right.
So that's kind of cool.
Are you thinking about trading your 2011, or are you just going to keep that and get that, or what?
Oh no, that's got to go.
Yeah.
I'm not BD Kane money. I can't keep more than one bike.
Oh yeah.
So it's got to go.
Big Daddy's got like 3 of them. He's big roller.
Yeah, we're going to do an upcoming podcast because he doesn't kind of anymore. So he's a wheeler. The thing about him is he don't even make that much. He's just a wheeler and a dealer, dude. He knows how to talk. He goes to like old people's house and talks them out of their property and stuff. Hey, you want to sell that bike to me for $100?
Come on, man.
It's not fair, is it?
Yeah.
Hey, well, first of all, one of them's an 01 and it's paid for. So I ain't that fat rolling. It was given to me by my dad.
Correct, Chola. True.
Yeah. And, but I'll tell you, I do like the looks of those shark noses. They are tight, and the specials, what makes them so cool is it's funny you brought up the inner fairing. When I bought my Ultra, that was the first thing I noticed was that high gloss black inner fairing. It just looked really sharp.
Dude, Corey, you're going to have to keep us posted in the online about if you get that new bike, dude.
Will do. Be posting pictures as soon as I get it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And anything else you want to shout out before we move on?
No, man. Thanks, guys, and have a good one.
Yeah, thanks for coming in on the call. We really appreciate it when you guys do that. So, all right, buddy, peace out.
Enjoy that new bike.
All right. That was awesome, huh? Isn't that fun?
Absolutely.
People can call into the show. We've had that in the past.
No kidding, that's awesome.
All right. Big Daddy, what else you got to say, and we'll take it out?
I don't really got much. Just letting people know that we really appreciate the support. I've been seeing a lot of emails coming across the admin email and even on the patron page that you guys are really not only giving us the verbal props, I mean, the reviews of our products on the store and everything, but the fact that you keep following us, even though we have stupid jokes and sometimes
who does
Popeye?
No, serious enough.
I like how when we give him shit, really he doesn't even stop.
He's on a delay. That's why.
Well, that too, but we make fun of him. He doesn't even pay attention to us. Doesn't even acknowledge us. Whatever.
You, sir, are not a gentleman, and you are not funny.
I've never claimed to be a gentleman.
True that. No, you're right, BD, and we appreciate the support, guys. I'm just going to make a quick announcement. I'm going to do it over the next several podcasts, and that is, don't get concerned. Just like last year, we are going to go off the air just for the month of August. We work really hard. And in fact, to get ready for tonight's 2 episodes, because we're going to do another one non-live after this, I spent probably just prep 6 to 7 hours. And then it'll take another many hours to get it out to you guys. So I'm not complaining. We put in a lot of work and we're not leaving you. And the patron support will continue. And as long as the patron support continues and you guys all sign up and we continue to see growth, we're going to keep moving forward. I have no doubt about that. But we'll still be in the private Facebook group. We'll still be putting videos out in August. It's just the podcast is going to take a little hiatus for the month of August because I'm going on a family vacation and I just need a breather. The podcast is additional work along with everything else, of course. So it's the one thing that we're going to set aside. Don't worry though. So just get ready for that. I don't know exactly when this one's going to come out, but the next couple I'm going to mention it so nobody freaks out. Because last year when we did, even though I mentioned it, people were emailing us, "Oh my God, you guys quit," and people were freaking out and signing up real quick to get us back on the air. And I told them, I said, "No, we're going to quit. We just wanted to take a month off from the podcast." So that means a lot to us when you guys do that kind of stuff. That we know that's how much you appreciate it and you miss it. With that said, what do you say we take it on out of here, guys? Because me and Popeye. And actually, I'll talk to you in a second, BD Kane, about that. But yeah, that's right, guys. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for being the live experience. Lawabidingbiker.com/live. Get signed up on that email list so you know when we go live. It's a lot of fun. As you can see, you can call in like Corey did there. That was really cool. It's great to see his face. I've talked to him so much online. And now to get to talk to him at least via face-to-face on Blab. Don't forget, call to action. Our affiliate links page, guys, lawabidingbiker.com/banners. Do you want to support us? That's right. We have a dedicated affiliate banner page, guys. Go over there, lawabidingbiker.com/banners. Bookmark that. Say Help Lab. Whatever you want to call the bookmark. No additional cost to you. That's right. We do get a small kickback, a commission for each sale should you click through any of those banners and make a purchase. All the major motorcycle stores are there. Of course, if you want to go directly to our store, we appreciate that too. With our products in there right now. Bookmark it, like I say, guys. It really helps us out. What's that Lab Podcast hotline phone number there, Popeye?
That phone number is area code 509-731-3548.
Or an internet voicemail from anywhere in the world, right from your computer microphone for free, lawabidingbiker.com/voicemail. Don't forget, guys, we also have the Law Abiding Biker app, lawabidingbiker.com/app for Google. It's the best way to consume, and also iOS, Apple. Best way to consume the podcast, guys. You can call right in there, and it's just a great experience. Don't forget, I haven't mentioned, but we're also on Google Play Music now. Google stepped up to the plate, and a lot of you Google people are listening on Stitcher Radio. Now you can go right to the Google Play Music store. It's free. Just search for lawabidingbiker.com. And if you just go to our main website, over on the right sidebar, there's a Google Play button, and it will take you directly through to get that app, guys. And don't forget, if you can't support us monetarily or anything right now, we understand family budgets. Don't forget, you can support us by rating us on iTunes or Stitcher Radio, lawabidingbiker.com/iTunes or /Stitcher Radio. Helps bump us up in the rankings so more bikers around the world have a chance to find us, gives us social proof, so everybody can be part of what we call the biker revolution. All right, guys, peace out. Get the rubber side down.
And the shiny side up.